What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tapped In at Home Edition. My name is Drew Wuzon, joined alongside a very special guest today, a young legend out of the QC, Autumn Rainwater. How
I
you
like
doing?
that. I'm good. How are
Like that
you? How are
intro?
you? Yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah.
Word. So first, I wanted to get into just like a little bit about like how I found you. So
Okay.
I had a homie back in the day. I don't know if you remember this guy's named Ant Blackwell. Remember a guy
Mhm.
named Ant Blackwell?
Mhm.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
high school. I went to high school with Ant, and I always used to hear your name. Like this is, I think this is back when you had your long hair going, but I never knew
Mhm.
you made music and whatnot. But I just always heard about an Autumn. And
Okay.
last year, I think Mariah, shout out to Mariah,
Mhm.
she had shared something on Instagram on her stories of a Triller video you made. You had the
Mhm.
Hornets gear on, and I think it was to your song "Lonely."
Mhm.
And that was the first time I was like, "Who is this? Who is this?" So I went to the Instagram. I'm like, "Who is this?" And then I went to the
Mhm.
YouTube and downloaded the song because not "Lonely" is one of my favorite songs. So I don't even smoke, and I
Right.
lonely like that. So I don't even smoke, and I rock with Lonely. So yeah, that's how I got into you. So I want you to tell the people a little bit about yourself, if you would.
well, I'm Autumn Rainwater. I'm a Charlotte native, born and raised here. I'm 30. I'm a singer. I write. I I'm strange and ratchet.
Strange and Ratchet. That sounds like a lounge.
I yeah. Yo, that's a good idea actually. I don't know. I don't feel like it's a lot to me. It's just, you see what you get. I don't know.
So where did you get the last part of your name, Rainwater, from? I want to hear that story.
You know what's crazy? Okay, so I used to work at this spa. I was a receptionist, and I was just this was at a time where like I had the stage name Autumn Lior. I didn't like it. I just didn't feel like it was true to me. Like it just sounded very bourgeois, and that
Word.
wasn't who I was. So, but I'm at work one day, and we're like uh canceling memberships for people who don't show up, and it was a person with the last name Rainwater, and I was like, yo, that's kind of cool. So that's how that happened.
Oh, so you just jocked the swag on them. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it made sense. It's a noun too. It's like an actual thing. Autumn
Yeah.
Rainwater is a thing.
Yeah,
So
that's dope. That's dope as hell.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
wanted you to talk about like we're in the middle of a pandemic. I want you to talk about a
hmm
little bit about like how you're dealing with everything with the coronavirus.
the pandemic is weird. It's just a lot of weird stuff going on right now. I've
Mm-hmm.
been telling all my friends that this is the most bittersweet year ever because like I'm in a really good place. I'm very healthy, mind and spirit and body. Like, but it's a lot of very weird shit going on. Like
Right.
very weird shit. So just to be in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of what seems to be a racial pandemic too,
Right.
is like,
Ooh. Yeah.
yeah, it's some days hi, Mariah just pulled up. Uh
Wow.
right.
She got to get
So
in on it now.
I
She got to
know,
sit in with
right?
you now. She got
I
to sit down
know.
with you now.
Yeah, she probably don't think she about to sit down with me, so she is. But yeah, it's just it's a weird balance between things. I just recently got fired from my job due to the pandemic and the racial pandemic. So I'm dealing with a lot, but I'm in a great place. It's a very, very weird time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how you said racial pandemic because that's really like what's going on, like a
Yeah.
lot. So how
Yeah.
have you had to like shift creatively within all of this? Because I know like people's shows is getting canceled, gigs, all that stuff.
hmm
So how have you been shifting creatively?
It's just really Hi, Mariah. I'm gonna put that question on pause.
Okay.
Me and we're already talking about you. Nope, nah, you can't. She's trying to back up. Nope.
Nope.
Come,
Tell her come
yeah,
on
you
in.
might as well come on. Yep, I'm gonna give you ear pod. And she's like, what did I walk into? Which I don't know which side it's on. Hello.
Yo, what's popping?
Hello.
You doing all right? She off
I'm good.
guard.
How are you?
I know.
I'm good.
I'm like,
He
You getting
shouted
in
you
on the
out
interview
earlier,
now.
so
It's both of y'all
yeah.
now. I interviewed you already, but we interviewing you again with Autumn. Yeah. Yeah.
hey, you're in California.
Are you in California?
No.
Okay, so earlier I thought that we were supposed to like meet at 3, but I didn't know it said 3 Pacific time. And so
Oh, it
yeah, that's
did.
I was like, maybe he's in Cali. So
Okay,
now I
because
know
I
you're
got
not in
the
Cali. I just
email and I
can't
was
leave.
like, why does it say she's waiting? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
See,
that makes sense now. Because I was like, because I literally
but I
on
was
the Zoom
attempting.
it says 6 p.m. on my Zoom. That's I'm just like, okay, so it says 6 p.m. here. I'm like, I know she don't think I'm in. Okay, so that
Yeah, I
makes
don't
sense.
know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I'm not in California at all. I'm not jet setting. I
Okay.
wish I was. Nah, I'm not.
Right. You didn't know I was gonna be here, huh?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna actually just let her do her thing because I know I'm at Josh's house. So
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Hi. Hello. I hope you're doing well. Nice to see you.
good to see
No,
you
I didn't.
too.
I did not know. I just
I know.
dropped Jacoby off the table.
Okay. Yeah, I meant to call you.
No, you're good. I need to Red Bull.
You're gonna go to sleep. Ah. Okay. I love you, friend. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Um.
This is perfect.
Okay.
This is all going on YouTube too. This whole the whole segue, the whole
You know what I'm
segue going
saying?
on YouTube. Yeah, like
Real
real
life.
life, real life.
You
Let's
know what
go.
I'm saying? Okay, so the question that you asked me was
Was how
how
are
do
you
I
shifting? Yeah, how are you pivoting creatively with everything going on?
I'm definitely okay, so one, I'm trying to pay attention to the expression that I've learned about and gathered throughout this whole pandemic is read the room.
Mm,
And I think that that's very important in a time like this because I didn't just want to jump the gun like watch all my shit, listen to all my shit,
right.
even though I am a creative and that is a part of how I survive. I just wanted to make sure that um whatever I do creatively, it's I'm reading the room, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to be conscious about that. But in the beginning of all of this, I was already kind of promoting Raincheck. I was already planning to put out What Was Cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did a live show in the beginning of the pandemic, and then I like chilled out like
Yeah.
really, really hard just to give myself time to like process things because I can be a busybody sometimes, and I don't give myself the space and the
Mm-hmm.
peace to just really sit with everything. And I think that was the best thing I did for myself creatively. Like um, Mariah, maybe 2 weeks ago, she had a I don't want to call it a seminar. It is a name for it. I can't think right now. I'm kind of smacked, um but she held something and she was talking about how somebody spoke with her about how black people we're always put into the space where we feel like we have to continuously prove ourselves and keep working.
Right.
And I think just you know giving that time to myself to just really just relax and take in everything and just gather, okay, I'm not at work, I'm in my apartment, I haven't been around people, I'm just gonna relax.
Mm-hmm.
It was great for everything that I've been doing creative, you know these days, just because it's put me I'm in a clear headspace. I can finally like just it's kind of like I've given myself time to like see everything clear. So
Mm-hmm.
um, but it's definitely been bittersweet. That's more so monetary than anything. But I've been rolling with the punches, like hard shit, good shit.
Right.
It's been cool.
So what was the biggest lesson? You said reading the room. So what was like the biggest lesson that you learned that quarantine has taught you thus far?
Surrendering. You can't
Mm,
control things that you are not in control of.
mm,
So that's been the theme for me all year, even before the pandemic. I was kind of getting a taste of my own medicine, like all right, like all right, universe, all right, God, like okay, I'm gonna surrender, but like quarantine like taught me like okay, you have no control over anything. You don't know what's gonna happen next, so you have to surrender.
right.
And since I've given stuff to God and I've like really just all right, cool. I'm just gonna control what I can and keep it pushing regardless. It's
Mm-hmm.
been it's the best thing I could have ever done for myself. So
Word. That speaks
Yeah.
volumes. Yeah, I know for me, like I got furloughed from my job like in the middle of March. So like I still
Mhm.
got mine, but it's unpaid. So I'm on unemployment. So
Mm.
like when it
Mhm.
hit me, I was like, dang. Cause I'm like, I'm used to creating every single week, renting out a spot and creating. So it like the first couple of weeks, I didn't do anything because I'm watching everybody else. I'm like, what's everybody else doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What all the creatives that do interviews are they doing? They're doing the Zoom thing. And I'm like, okay, y'all
Mhm.
doing the Zoom thing, but if I can't get it to look right in post, I'm not doing it
Yeah.
because I want to do it in person. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, and then just after the fact, just like figuring it out and just moving with like rolling with the punches now. So just rolling with the
Mhm.
punches and just adjusting and trying to just do things, make it aesthetically pleasing as possible. So
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about how you started making music. When I was researching you, I found out that like earliest project I could see online was from 2012. So when did you
Mhm.
first start making music?
Um. I actually started in 2008.
Okay,
My high school boyfriend had like a little hookup in his room. It was like a gateway computer and a USB mic, and
classic.
right. And all of my family, we all do music, but I I knew it was something that I enjoyed, but I never saw myself doing it until like,
Mm-hmm.
he raps, so he was rapping and I just kind of did it for fun and it just kind of stuck and I got brave in 2012 enough to do a mixtape. And that's called 22.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I've been singing forever, but I really started taking it seriously in 2008.
And I was gonna ask you about that. Might as well ask you about it now since you brought up your parents, because I was in the research I was doing. I saw that you did an interview and you said that your father was in a not punk, funk cover band, and that your
Yeah.
mom sang as well. So talk about that
Hmm.
like upbringing. Like, was music like the only choice? Like, you came out like, okay, music or die. Like,
I mean, well, from then I felt like it was. Now, I mean, my like my brothers and my sisters, like we're all musical, but we all do different things.
mm-hmm,
My sister was actually she was doing music a decade before I was in the city, and which is how I familiarized myself with numeral three. He went by Young S Dub back then. They have a song together. But yeah, my dad, everybody, the house was loud. Everybody singing, like, and we all had different like musical tastes. Like my brother was very into like, teenage angst, like grunge
wow,
music, and he has yeah, and he has a skateboard shop in Charlotte too. And my older sister was into 90s R&B and gospel, so I had that aspect of it. I have a half sister that was really into like indie folk, like Nora Jones, John Mayer. So my house was always noisy. It was like I feel like I had no choice. Like I just got all of these different aspects of music, and
yeah.
but yeah, it was a very very musical
Yeah,
household.
house.
Yeah.
So how did that like affect your music? Like when you started putting out music, like all those different sounds together, like was it like a struggle trying to find your sound?
No, I always did things that kind of, resonated with me. So even if it was like it could be, I don't know, some indie folk, like country, like it didn't matter. Like I'm a songwriter first. So
Mm,
however that comes to me is, so sometimes it won't be R&B, it'll be rap or it'll be, I've never wanted to limit myself to just one genre at all.
word.
So yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about doubt as an artist. So
Okay.
when I was researching you still, I found out you said you like before your project Leaf, you said you struggle with doubt.
Hmm.
Being a young 20 something and your music really wasn't, like going the way you wanted it to go. Could you talk about like the struggles of the like how you overcame that doubt and if you are still going through it, if anything?
Um, yeah, I think so. When I put out 22, it got a bigger response than I thought, and for a first swing at a project, you never know.
Right.
But um, after that, I just felt like, oh my god, like just from the outpouring of support, I was just like, oh, how am I gonna top this? And so I was just kind of trying to do what I thought everybody would like, or what everybody would be into. But I think that more so I just gotta follow my intuition. I still go through doubt as an artist now. And it's just more so following your gut rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses. I think that's like the lesson that I'm continuously learning is,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna be true to yourself as an artist, or are you gonna try to do what everybody else does?
Right.
And I think that the more that you don't align with what you really want to do, it kind of sets you off track. And I think that's just anytime I didn't feel like anytime I felt like I didn't strike with music, it was more so because I was doing what I thought I should do versus what I felt. So
Mm.
that's kind of how I try to like finesse the whole doubt thing. It's just like remember why you're here. Remember, go with your gut, and listen to yourself when in doubt. So
Word.
yeah.
I like that. So
Thanks.
also too, could you talk about like being like a young millennial and like trying to make your dreams happen? Like I know you talked about that on Get Paid. That's why like Get Paid is like really doing well from like the video and like everybody's like rocking with it. Like could you
Yeah.
just talk about that? Like I know that song talks about that in depth, but could you just talk about that? Like just being a millennial, just trying to make your dreams happen. Like what's that? What's that life like?
It's definitely not easy. That's for damn sure. Like you hear people say, "Oh, it's not easy," and you're like, "Yeah, but I can find my way around it being easy. Like I'll
Right.
finesse it somehow." No, it don't work like that
Yeah.
either, and
Right.
I've learned that too. So I think just more so, just like faith is a really big thing when it comes to being a young millennial trying to follow your dreams because um I mean, and it doesn't matter what it is. I think sometimes when it's creative pursuits, people think it's far fetched, but like for black people, it's far fetched for us to be doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So it's just more so having faith that's gonna kind of counteract that doubt. And yeah, I think that's just really what. And as far as get paid, it's like embracing and feeling your feelings. So
Mm.
get paid was like frustrated. It was literally me just I'm at work writing on sticky notes, and I
Right.
saved all 7 of those sticky notes because I felt like I have something here, but I was just at work
Right.
frustrated. I'm like, this is stupid, and I did a show the day before that, and I was tired. I'm just like, ugh, when is this gonna end? Like,
Right.
and it's okay to feel like that, and I think that's another thing too with uh creatives. I think that everybody needs to feel their feelings. I feel like that's the only way you're going to push through anything, because if you avoid your frustrations and if you don't vocalize those or actually sit with those things, you're going to kind of be in this hamster wheel.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
like I often how I deal with it because I'm like I'm working to trying to get to that place of trying to own a network and also stuff I've been trying to do, and it's just like I always try to
Hmm.
like keep the right mindset. Like I think like the right mindset is like so like needed, especially in this space because it's like you said, it's like a hamster wheel. Like you're going to work and coming home, and then you feeling like, man, I only got like an hour or two to actually work on my craft. Like, is this
Right.
really adding up to like the big break that I'm trying to get, like, and just trying to keep the
Right.
right mindset. Like that's what I always try to do, just try to keep the right mindset, and then like the right like reminders. Like I screenshot if somebody says, oh, this video was dope, like
Hmm.
I screenshot the reminders from people telling me this stuff was dope or this content was dope, and that
Hmm.
keeps me motivated as I
Yeah.
continue to keep going.
Yeah. And that's good too. I do that too. Anytime, like, I have fans in weird places, like I speak to somebody lightly that lives in Russia, and I have a couple of
Wow.
Florida fans, and just people who are like, you know, I don't speak to them often, but it's
Right.
like anytime I drop something, or if I take a picture that they feel like is cool, they're like, yo, Autumn, and that's cool to me. Like, how did you find me all the way? Like,
Right.
where, and it's just, and that's humbling. It's really grounding, and it does make me want to move forward. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, I remember when
yeah,
the first time like somebody watched like my video like in like Australia or like the United
that's
Kingdom. I'm like,
crazy.
bro, like where y'all finding? this stuff
That should
from
be crazy.
bro, like somebody hit me. I did a video like when my content was like the quality was low. I did a video about like bullying like 3 years ago, and some lady found me on Facebook and was like, "Oh, can I show this to like my Sunday night class students or whatever?" I was like, "Sure." I'm like, "You're in the United Kingdom and you found this video?" Like, bro, like I'm in
Right.
Charlotte, like.
That's crazy to me though. That like,
Yeah.
but you know, anyway, the message touches people. Like that's what I had to learn too. Like my dad would say things like, you know, you're a prophet and you have the ability to like spread a message. So you got to be, you know, conscious of what you spread, and how you spread it. But I feel like it's cool when I'm like, I can write a song, like get paid and be frustrated in that, and then somebody could be like, "Yo, me too." I'm like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not by myself."
Right.
So I think that's cool. I think that's really cool.
So could you speak a little bit about like the ups and downs of being an independent artist?
Um, I think the downs for me is mainly monetary. Like,
Right.
um, but the ups is just being able to from the sound of things have more creative control over what I want my image to the world to be. Getting to say what I want. I don't have to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's the essence and who I am as an artist. I think that it's just because I'm 100%, and I think that that's like the up, the especially from, you know, all of the independent artists that I know, like they share the same sentiment. I just feel like having creative control as an artist is like the best thing about that. But monetary, of course, will be a down for me
Yeah.
because, of course, I want all the money in the world to do
Yeah,
everything.
right. To do everything that we need to do.
Right.
You mentioned it a little bit, talk about your friends being independent artists. The Charlotte music scene last couple of years has been buzzing. And I'm
Mhm.
guilty. I'm guilty as hell for not being tapped in. That's why the whole show is
Mhm.
called Tapped In, because I'm trying to get tapped in, because I have
Clever.
not, before last year, I was not tapped in. So I've been trying to
Mhm.
get tapped in. So could you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about like the Charlotte music scene and what you've seen from it?
I think that well, okay, so I did a podcast maybe a couple years ago. I did Talk That Talk, and we were talking about the Charlotte music scene, and I was talking about how people are starting to notice us.
Mm-hmm.
Present day, I feel like we are very much visible.
Visible.
And I, yeah, and I think that it's diverse. Like you got a melting pot of things here. It's not just one type of genre here. You got a lot of people that do a lot of things, and we're all kind of intermingling, and it's we're starting to familiarize ourselves with each other. It's really really cool to see. I have all of the faith in Charlotte, and I know that this is going to be one of those places that people, well, it is already that people are kind of looking at for a market, and
Mm-hmm.
so much has happened in like a year's time. It's crazy. Um, I know that we would probably be further along if no pandemic though. Like we definitely would have had, especially like with shows, and it
Yeah.
would have just been, you know, but minor setback, major comeback, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think it was like just hitting its peak, like well still hitting its peak, but like I think it was gonna get
Mhm.
somewhere like this summer. I think like if there was no pandemic, yeah, it would have been crazy.
Crazy.
Um
Yeah.
Talk about your performance at Player Made, because I was there. I think I met you that night. I don't remember much from that night.
Same.
I don't remember much from that night. But talk a little bit about your performance, because that was the first time I seen you perform. That night just in
Okay.
itself was just lit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
it
vibe in
was.
there.
I first of all, I want to shout out Elevator J because that is the one thing that I definitely do every month. I'm so sad that I haven't been to a Player Made in months. It's weird. But that's like the neighborhood jam. It just feels like a house party every time you go. So it's always lit for me, but it's just cool to be received in that way, especially since it's been a hot minute since I had put out music at that time.
Mhm.
And yep, I don't remember much either. I had a bucket of lollipops. I don't know what happened to them. But I had a really really good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really really.
Yeah, this is the sad part, bro. That was like the only time I went. I just like I remember like they was like, bro, when you gonna come to Player Made? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come. I went to that. I think that was the only time I went, and then the next
Yeah,
time I think I had to do something the next day, so I was like I couldn't go, and then everything
yeah.
shut down. I was like, bro, I was
It's
hot. I'm
the
like,
best.
bro,
I love Player Made. Like
God,
it's the best. I feel like I'm glad that Player Made is one of those things that's like it's a city thing, and it's not like,
hmm
because you know how like oh, well, how can I don't know, like you know how these big concerts that be going, like maybe R&B
hmm
only. I guess I'll put
right,
that out there, where people travel and do that. I'm glad that
right,
it's just it's like
yeah,
Player Made is a Charlotte thing. It's great.
yeah.
Shout out to Elevator J.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it'll stay a Charlotte thing too. I don't think he'll ever go corporate with that because he don't need to. Because oh
Yeah,
man,
no,
yeah.
no, it's
It's,
great. Yeah.
so, talk to me a little bit about your musical inspirations. I've seen on Instagram you talk about how you love Prince. So,
hmm
talk to me a little bit just about who all are your musical inspirations.
I'm definitely gonna say Prince. I'm gonna say Brandy. I love Brandy. Like I love Brandy. Um, Solange, same thing. Big homie Solange. Um, and of course, you know, Erica Lauren. I like really big, powerful female voices. I'm an advocate for Amy Winehouse too. I love Amy Winehouse. I have her tatted. Like
Oh
I swear
wow,
by her. Yeah, I love Amy. I feel like she was an underdog. She said everything she wanted to say. Her life was not pretty. She never tried to glamorize it. She just came 100% her and was her the whole time. And it's unfortunate. Young legend though. I love Amy. Her pen is stupid. Like songwriter, like of my heart. I love her. Yeah, I have. I don't know. My inspirations all over the place. It just depends on what we're talking about. But I mean, black people in music inspire me. Period.
right.
I grew up on a lot of old school, so your Gap Band, your Stevie
Mm,
Wonder, your Earth, Wind and Fire, uh, Bootsy Collins. My dad made sure I was good and hefty with the old school influences, to the
right.
point where I feel like an old head. Like you know what that sample is. Whenever
Yeah, I
people
got a
talk
homie
about
that's
music.
just like that. I got a homie, my homie Elia. He's younger than me. He's 5 years younger
Mhm.
than me, and he was raised just like that. Like all the old school. Like, oh, you know what that sample is? I know what that sample is. Oh yeah, that. I'm like, bro, like,
Mhm.
come on,
It's
bro, like,
important though. It's important because
right,
it's a lot of people out here that think that some artists just came up with that. It's like no,
right.
you got people who like I forgot who I was talking to about the Isley brothers. I think I was talking about the Thundercat flip, and I was explaining that that was an Isley Brothers sample, which you know I got younger people in my family, so you
Right.
got to explain things. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, old school is definitely big inspo for me.
So
So.
with that, you mentioned Solange. In doing my
Mhm.
research, I found that you have a special connection with Solange. Could you talk about that for me?
Yeah, I felt like so earlier I said, my older sister, she did music in the city, and she was kind of like the way that I looked at my sister when I was coming up is she was like she was on the honor roll, she was in everything at school, did talent shows, like she was Beyonce.
Yeah.
And I always kind of felt like, Beyonce's little sister.
Yeah.
But I love how like Solange kind of like identified herself as, no, I'm Solange. Like I'm
hmm
Beyonce's sisters, yes, but you're gonna know me as Solange first.
hmm
And I think that there's just a lot of similarities there where you grow up with an older sibling, y'all have similar interests, and you kind of have to, especially if you're younger, you kind of feel like you're living in like a shadow.
Mm.
But that's just kind of what that was. Solange is always the underdog for me. Like yeah, I love Solange.
Yeah, because when I read that, I was like, oh, that's an interesting like dynamic. Like you connect with Solange, and just
hmm
like I'm like, man, like how did that play out in your music? Like, man,
Yeah.
like did you like hear your song and be like, man, I don't sound like my sister enough? Did you ever struggle with that at times, or you was like, no, this is me?
Well, I think for me there was a time where like obviously my sister is like a really big influence to me. she owns a salon on the south side, and she loves music. She sings all the time. All her clients will tell you she'll sing in the middle of doing the hair. It's just but she does like church things. She sings at weddings. She's still very much tapped in, and
Yeah.
but I've always looked to her for that. Anytime she would hit a run in the house, I'd like try to remember it and go and sing in the bathroom somewhere, try to like pocket
Mm-hmm.
that same thing. So it's a lot of, she influences me a lot. I think in my music there are definitely things or notes or something that definitely sound like my sister. And she'll tell me that too. Like, people think we sound alike, people think we look alike. She don't think we look alike, but we do. But yeah, she's a very big, heavy influence in like just cadences, runs. I definitely coined her for that.
Word,
So,
word.
yeah.
So on your Leaf project, like I was telling you beforehand, my favorite song of yours is Lonely. And
Mm-hmm.
on Lonely, like I told you, I don't smoke, but I can resonate with the feeling of like you being lonely, you want somebody to pull up on you, or you want to pull up on somebody. So could you talk about like where you were in that song, or like the event or the moment that kind of like caused you to write that song?
Yeah. So the irony in that song is that the guy that I wanted to come over, he doesn't smoke either. so but yeah, it was just, I was in a place where I was just, I mean, it's funny because I wrote it very casually and I didn't realize how, because sometimes I'll just be jotting down my feelings and then it'll evolve into a song. And maybe on the 75th time I hear it, I'm like, dang, I was really feeling that way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's weird, but I definitely remember the moment. Like, I definitely remember being nervous to hit him up, and I'm texting Mariah at the time, like, Mariah, should I text him? Like, text him. Why you being crazy? And this was like in 2015, and I did. He came over. We hung out. He just didn't smoke with me, but
Yeah.
it's just funny what it evolved into. Like, looking back at that moment, the moment was kind of small, and for
Yeah.
it to be this bigger thing is really, really cool, but really
Yeah.
interesting. It's crazy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
bro, I listen to that song. Like I'll just be driving like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, just drive. It's one of those songs, like like a drunk texting by Chris Brown, Janae Eco. It's like one
Yes,
of those. It's like one of those for
I
me. Like
love that song.
yeah, I love that song too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it was one of those songs for me. I'm just like, dang, bro, like always feeling like that. But why was you was hesitant to call bro up? Like, come on.
I mean, you know how a crush is. Like,
True.
you got a crush on somebody, you just like, ooh. And
Yeah.
I'm contrary to popular belief, I'm kind of shy. So I was just like, oh, what if he's saying no? I don't
You
know.
fooling me? Because I definitely don't think you shot.
It's the weed. It's the weed. But
Yeah.
nah. But yeah. I can be, especially when I like somebody. Like, I'm so used to meeting different people all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
retail will do that to you too, where,
Yeah.
it's easy to meet people, but like, if it's somebody you like, you just kind of like,
Yeah.
hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Most definitely. So one thing I love about you as an artist is your visuals. So
thank you.
in doing my research and going back and looking at all the videos that you have on your channel, no matter
Oh
how
gosh.
many, all of them are somehow creative. All of them are somehow of a high quality. And as an
Hmm.
independent artist, there's no label backing you. There's no, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? There's no, I don't know if you have a team or not, but like nobody's backing you. So could you talk about just like the creative process behind like these visuals? Because I'm like the growing video. I'm like, where'd you find a whole bunch of flowers hanging upside down? Like like in Charlotte? That's what really be blowing my mind about the Charlotte artists. I'm like, where are these spots at? I'm in Concourse. I'm like, bro, where are these
Right.
spots at with these different lights and all this stuff? I'm like, bro, where is this at? So could you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah. First of all, I have a lot of artsy, creative ass friends that will make something small into something like, it's amazing to look at my videos and to think like, dang, I was in a room. I wasn't, because with the growing video, first of all, I have to shout out Hanin, because Hanin is the best. Hanin, she is a visual artist, and when I say visual, I mean that in all caps with a whole bunch of
Mm-hmm.
underlines under them. Because she's like super creative, and she just told me that what she got from the video, because the video, her that was her creative direction. She just took
Mm.
from the first couple of lines that I said in a song, and even like took to Instagram to show how she built the set for it. And she just had like I guess it was like um I know it's like a technical term for that paper, but she had paper where she uh taped flowers upside down. It was just hanging.
Yeah.
And when we did the video, we were at Simon something's house, shout out to Simon, and my homegirl Casey is just standing on the side like shaking flowers. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
it was very, very just built from scratch, but it looks like it was a professional.
That's what
And
I'm
that's what I
saying.
yeah, that's the essence of why I love being a creative. Like, sure, we don't have these large ass amounts of money to do things, but we can make it look like we did. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm very fortunate for that. Hanin is very creative. She did Lonely too.
Okay, word. Yeah,
And
because that video's
yeah,
fire too. I'm like,
yeah,
where you
she
find these spots
yeah,
at? I know that's Black Market. I know that's
yeah.
yeah, around there, but I'm just like still I'm like, bro, like where y'all find these spots at, man?
Yeah, the lighting concepts and everything. I'm very big on lighting and color
Yeah,
theory. So just the way that all of that has come together is fire. I'm so
yeah.
happy that we did that together.
Yeah.
But
Cause
yeah.
I'm like, I seen, and you talking about like being in the room, like I remember seeing, like, I don't know if it was last year or earlier this year, like you doing photo shoots with the red light and like
Mhm.
blue light, or whatever, like you're just being
Mhm.
very creative, but you're just inside of a room. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And it just shows off like your creativity, and like that's why I love.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
of
Yay.
course, of course. Like for real, like I'm telling you, like y'all, like go watch her videos. I'm trying to tell you, like she's really good, like about that. Leading
Thanks.
into this question, being that independent artist, like I was saying, with these high quality videos back in the day,
Mhm.
like 2011, 2012, when people was coming up, the videos wasn't that good. People was putting
Mhm.
out videos, with an independent artist, you're like the trek was you're starting off small budget, and then you get to the high quality videos once you get signed. But
Mhm.
nowadays you're seeing a lot of independent artists start from the top. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if you're an independent artist, you're not putting out no low quality. Could you kind of speak on that
Right.
change? Could you kind of speak on that change for me a little bit?
Um, these are the loudest cars ever in life. Um, yeah, I think that people just have a fire in them. They want to do the research. They want to look into taking these little classes to figure out how to do, I don't know, Photoshop, or
Mm-hmm.
people are finding everything is more accessible than it used to be. So
Right.
it's not like out of pocket to get, especially with things like you got your Amazon, you got people will find a way to get what they need in order to build things. I've All of my friends, it's never been anything where we just had $10,000 to blow on some stuff. We would
Right.
just make it and create it. So I think, now that people are more eager to do research, now that these things are available, and it's easy to go to YouTube University and learn how to do something.
Facts.
I think that it's helping a lot of creatives move forward, and people are finding a lot of different ways to like do stuff. Like there's this girl that I follow on Instagram and maybe Twitter. Her name is Kimberly, and
Mm-hmm.
she her I guess her backstory is that she wanted to model, but nobody was trying to see about her, so she creates shoots and shoots them herself.
Mm.
And she's even like gotten on Ellen and stuff. But just to see her make something out of a whole bunch of nothing is like, it's out there. It's what you put into what you do.
Yeah.
So.
Most definitely. Yeah, because I've seen that because I'm just like, man, it's like you're shooting people shooting off of iPhones, and I
Mhm.
think I just think it like tells, especially for like Charlotte, like just
Yeah.
the amount of resources everybody has, like everybody, like you saying, you have a whole bunch of creative friends. I think it just goes to show like the resources that Charlotte has, like, and it's like undercover because I'm like literally like 3 years ago, if I seen these videos, I'm like, where is this at in Charlotte? I've been here my whole life. I've been here since I was 5. Like, where is this?
Right.
Where is this? Where are you finding this at? Where are y'all finding the homies with like what's going on?
Well, see, but the thing about Charlotte is that it has a lot of special nooks and crannies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, on the surface, you see a lot of things being redone and neighborhoods being torn down and built back
Mm-hmm.
up. But in these neighborhoods, in these pockets of the corners of Noda and like places that you would never think have something special, there's like something special. It's just all in what
Right.
you make it. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Most definitely. I feel that. So, could you, in one word, describe your music for me? I know that's probably hard, but one word. If you had one word to describe your music, what would you describe your music for me as?
Emotional.
Mm.
That's my word for right now. That might change in a couple of days,
Okay.
but for right now, it's emotional. I definitely that's 1,000% what I put into all of my music. So you're gonna get an emotion out of me, even with my unemotional songs. So
I think all emotion it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Like, I think emotion sometimes get a negative connotation. Like, just when you said, I'm like, emotional, I'm like, but emotional sometimes gets, or emotion itself sometimes get a negative connotation behind
yeah,
it. So you
hmm
automatically think sad and gloomy, but it's not. It just make you feel
right.
something.
Yeah, I when I say emotional, I mean it's just emotions. Period. Like
Right.
it's very easy to I don't know. I don't want to be that person to be like, yeah, music nowadays, there's no emotion in it. Because, I mean, that's not entirely true at all. But,
Right.
you know, you have things that are more trendier, more radio, more, I don't know, I guess,
Hmm.
very surface. Um, but for me, I just, since 99.3% of the things are my actual things that I've lived through, it's emotional. I can't be anything
Right.
but. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, speaking of emotional,
Mhm.
first project in a long while, Raincheck drop. I want to get into Raincheck a little bit and talk to me just about like why the long break first off, and then just talk to
Mhm.
me just a little bit about the project, the name behind it, all that good stuff.
Well, Raincheck, the name came to me because I mean it's a play off of Rainwater, but it's also like, hey, for the music that everybody's been asking me for a couple
Right.
years now, here I
Right.
am. So it was just and it was me not putting restrictions on myself. Like also I think Raincheck is a it's the first time that I was just out of my head about it and I was just like, I'm just gonna do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in different stages, all of my music is like that. But this was the one time where I'm like, okay, I'm I did take a almost 3 year hiatus. I finally got my head together because that was a lot of what that was. Just making sure I was mentally and emotionally prepared to do music and
Word.
put myself out that way. Because I'm a artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. So
Me too.
you know,
Even the creator, I'm thinking about my interviews. Like, bro, don't
yeah,
chill out, bro. Like, yeah, I get you.
right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was in a good headspace for that. I had just got out of a really bad breakup that kind of took the wind out of me, and I just wanted to take a couple years to cool off from that. And so I think Rain Check was just a way for me to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm brand new, this is fresh. I didn't even think about it. I just did it. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
It just gave me a space to like say what I want, and it's a very confident space. Rain Check is more confident than Leaf is. It
Mm-hmm.
was more so like a update, I guess,
Yeah, it was like a breath of
on
fresh
me.
air comparing the two projects, like listening to Leaf and then going to listen to Raincheck. It was definitely like a breath of fresh air. Like, it's like a new season for you, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It definitely was. Yeah.
So, could you talk about your relationship with Fields and how that the project came together with that? Because I'm supposed to interview him soon. I was a couple weeks ago, and then he had to go to Atlanta. But could you talk
hmm
about your relationship with Fields and how that the production for the project came together?
First of all, he's one of the most creative, hardworking, talented, outspoken, like he's necessary for like he literally I'm sitting in front of his house, he's making a beat. Like he's in the studio right now. Like,
Oh,
and
you
that's
at
his,
his crib? Okay,
yeah.
word.
And so this is his work ethic every day. Like
Yeah.
he, like I have never known a person in my life to work as hard as he does. And I'm just fortunate that we homies. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally it's just he's like the Timberland of my Missy. He just gets it. I don't have to explain much. He knows what I would sound best on, what would elevate me. And he's
Mm-hmm.
always like, hey, sometimes it'll just be at random. I'll just be checking my email. I got a beat there. Like he's just really, he believes in me. And I think that having a rapport with a person who produces music is a great one. And he's not like just a boom clack person. He's really in the sound, melody. He has a
Mm-hmm.
great ear. Levante is gold. Like I
Yeah, I
love that
remember.
that
I
nigga.
remember looking up his stuff. I'm like, I remember looking up his band camp, like preparing for our interview, preparing for my interview with him. I'm like, bro, like these different sounds. I'm like, and then I hear your project. I'm like, bro, like, so you do everything. Like you over here with it, and then you over there with it. Like you just everywhere with it. Like he's definitely
Yeah.
talented.
We're working on a house project right now. So yes.
Oh, I need
Yeah.
that. I need the link to the email. Send it to my email. I need a preview to my email. I
Okay.
need
Yeah,
that.
I definitely send you a preview. I'll show you what we've been doing so far. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited to hear
yeah.
about that too. Are you? Is it gonna
Yeah.
be like a live video? What you think about visual wise for that? Like live concert video, like in house type Mac Miller type deal.
I definitely want it to be crazy. I definitely want I'm very inspired by like CC Peniston and Crystal Waters, D Light, like really like in my like house bag. Like
Mm-hmm.
really like yeah. So it's gonna be neat. I'm very excited. Yeah. We're building though. I know how I want it to sound and it's coming out really good. We got 3 songs down. I'm trying to
Word.
figure out how many songs I actually want to do. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
dope. So you mentioned in the beginning of the interview that you're a songwriter first. Could you
hmm
talk about like your process with songwriting?
Um. Well, I realized that when I try to force it, it doesn't really happen.
Period.
Songwriting comes easy to me. I've kind of trained myself when I like normally when I would be upset when I was younger and I couldn't like vocalize that because I grew up as a PK and
Are you a PK?
I am a PK.
I just did an interview with a PK the other day. I should have. Okay, see now I know. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So that shelter, I was very underneath that shelter, and so
Uh,
I always had a pen and pad near, and I was always jotting down my feelings. If it was just frustration or a diary entry, it didn't matter. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes those will evolve into songs. And so songwriting just kind of it really kind of happened on accident. But when I figured out that I could do it just became more of a sport for me. So I think now I still kind of write the same way. Like with Get Paid, I was at work and I was not doing anything and I was tired and I was just like, oh, all
Yeah,
day just to get paid. But
yeah,
yeah, so it just depends on where I'm at or what space I'm in. I just can't force it.
yeah.
Is the only thing. I just can't.
Period.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I
Period.
don't force. I don't like forcing them either. Like when it comes to creativity, I was talking to another person I had interviewed last week, and she was talking about how she sometimes records videos like 3 times over, and I'm like, I just didn't start doing that till this year because how I used to be, it was just okay. I did it, and it took me this long to record it. I'm gonna put it out. Forget
hmm
about it. Now it's like,
hmm
okay, if I record it 3 times and it still don't come out right, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna move on to the next thing
Right.
and come back to
Right.
it because I'm like, I can't force nothing when it comes to
Yeah.
like creatively. Like if it don't flow, it don't flow at all.
Right. True that.
So if you
Yep.
could be quarantined in the studio with 2 artists, who would it
Ooh.
be and what would you learn?
Hi, Mildred. Huh? I'm in the middle of an interview. Oh, okay. Okay. No, you good. If I could be quarantined with 2 artists,
Mm-hmm.
who would
Two
they be?
artists. Two. Who would they be, and then what would you learn? Like quarantine in the studio. Yeah.
So just learning, not like doing music.
Yeah. I mean, you would be doing music.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So who would you? Yeah, and yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Got a hard one. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I go for. I go for good ones. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this is gonna be a weird combo.
You'll say Amy Winehouse and T.I. That's what you gotta say. You'll say Amy Winehouse and
No,
T.I.
no. First of all, I ain't sitting nowhere with T.I. But anyhow, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm gonna say Ty Dolla $ign and Solange.
Really?
I love Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah, someone who's
That's Josh.
Oh.
My friends are stupid. I'm gonna say Ty Dolla $ign and Solange. I love Ty Dolla $ign. I think Ty Dolla $ign is, as far as like vocal arrangement, I think that he's and a writer, and even though it's like I don't know, he gets away with not talking about shit, but his music seems like it has so much depth, and he's such a melodic, like everything is strategic. I love Ty Dolla $ign and Solange, obviously, for the reason.
Yeah,
you know.
that's crazy.
But I feel like they would give me two different sides of, like, two aspects of music. Like,
you really don't be talking about nothing, but it'd be fire though. I just thought about that.
Yeah, you don't be talking about nothing. I love Ty Dolla $ign. I love.
That's how I felt about Lil Baby. Lil Baby don't be talking about nothing, but you just dope.
I'm getting hip. I'm starting to run into these situations where, because this is the least I've ever listened to rap in my life.
Really? That's all.
Yeah.
I love. I need to get. I'm trying to get more into old school and R&B.
Yo, like it's crazy because I love rap, but it's just I feel like it's a new rapper every day that I don't know anything about. I've known a Lil Baby for a minute though, but I haven't really like jumped in. I know more about his celebrity presence than anything, but yeah, I was like my favorite rapper is Jay-Z. I wanted to be signed to Rockefeller. Like that's where my rap is.
Right.
So yeah. But yes, to answer your question, Solange and Ty Dolla $ign.
Okay, word. So last segment of the interview, it's my favorite segment. I do this segment called Explain That, where I go through your songs and I find lyrics, and you have to and you have to guess what the lyric is. It's probably gonna be pretty easy for you. Guess what the lyric is, so you see if you know your own stuff, and then you have to explain the lyric.
Okay.
All right. So first is distract me from my mind. I'm feeling blind. I'm feeling tired. Besides, I like these vibes I get inside. I feel inspired. What song is that?
That's Lonely, definitely. And what I meant by that was, like I can be an overthinker sometimes. So, you know, in receiving this company from the guy that I was, seeking company from, just like, please I don't want to think about all of the other things that are getting on my nerves. I just like this space, this bubble with you. Like, let's just exist in this space. So yeah.
The bubble. I like that. Like just existing in the bubble, not thinking about the outside world. I think about that a lot. Yeah. So second one, blue, just like the ocean water, just as deep. I'm falling harder, closer to me. I just can't escape.
So that's Blue Light. That's Blue Light. Okay, blue just like the ocean water, just as deep and falling harder, closer to me. I just can't. Obviously, I am in an embrace with a young fellow in a in an LED light that is blue, which is reminiscent of the ocean water. And I'm starting to approach the end of the embrace.
That's why you chuckled at the beginning of that. I was wondering why you chuckled. So your stuff really be like real life, and then you turn it into some like complex word matter, but it really just be like, oh, this real life, bro.
Yeah, that I mean, I feel like you could either say that or you could say, yeah, we fucking in the blue light on. Like you know, it just makes it sound better.
He said embrace with a young fellow. I was in embrace with a young fellow.
You know, something
Hilarious.
light.
So last one, and I think this would probably be pretty easy for you. Up all night thinking of a way just to get paid, do the same thing. Could you explain that lyric for me?
Yeah, that's get paid, obviously. So it's just basically okay, I'm going over it in my head. Up all night, working all day just to get paid, do the same thing. Up all night thinking of a way just to get paid, trying to maintain, gotta keep it going even if it feels strange. Feeling in my body, gotta feel it in my
You can
brain.
sing for us one time too if you tried to, you know what I'm saying? If you wanted to one time, you know what I'm saying? Just for the tapped in crowd, live show, you know.
Nah. No, but for real, it's just about being frustrated and really just being like feeling like you're in a hamster wheel. Like I hate routine shit. Like I hate redundant things, which is why like the call center life ain't for your boy. It's just not. I can't do it. But it's just that you know you have days and weeks where you feel like you kind of in a hamster wheel, like you just continuously doing the same thing. It's like you don't vary from the script, and you kind of look up one day and it's been 3 months and you've been doing the same thing. It's like I hate mundane, routine, redundant things.
Right.
I'm too much of a off the box, out the box person for that. So it's just being frustrated with doing the same thing and not getting anything out of it. Just kind of like burning out.
Yeah.
I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with that a lot because it's just like I think a lot of creatives do in a sense. I'm like, I hate routine. Like I somehow, but it's like I hate routine, but at the same time, because we're not doing anything right now, I need a routine to try to keep my mind on track because I'm like, bro, I'm gonna lose my mind because I'm like, I don't like sitting still. I'm not a homebody. I like to be out doing stuff. So like trying to keep a routine to keep my mind going, feel like I'm doing something, but like at the same time, it's just like, bruh, like I think all creatives like genuinely don't like doing that. But at the same time, I put myself in a 9-to-5 space, and sometimes I sit back and I'm like, man, do I regret like getting into the corporate world? I only got into the corporate world because I'm trying to get out of it. But like
that's for everybody though. We all that was my whole thing. I'm just gonna come in here and get my little bit of money and get the fuck out. It's very much real for me. Even in this very weird space that I'm in now, the corporate world sucks, and it's like
it sucks,
and it's like it sucks. I mean, it's necessary. Like I can't shit on a 9-to-5. I don't try to shit on any way that anybody survives. But it is frustrating when it's not what you really want to do. Like you don't love it and you're just here for very surface reasons. And it's just, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. And that sucks. It's like, that's why I Get Paid is like the ultimate like creative block frustration chant song for me. It's like, it is. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I also resonate with the whole call center thing. That's like one of the main reasons why like all my college homies had full-time jobs before I did. I was still working 2 part-time jobs before I got my full-time because I'm like, I will not go to a call center. I will not.
I've worked everywhere in Charlotte except for iCore. I put that on everything, and I hate everywhere.
Yeah,
they suck. I hate it.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it. But I like coming out of college. Like when I came out of college, I think that's like what everybody gravitates towards because it's just like okay,
money,
$36,000 a year, and you get like 13 days off or whatever, and it's just like you get to move out, and it's just, that's like the dream. Like literally, when you come out of college, I'm like, that's what everybody does. But then when you talk to them, they're like, oh, bro, I hate it. But like they got their own apartments and they got the money and they going on vacations or whatever.
But you're miserable. Yeah, but you're miserable, and then and then you might get addicted to Red Bull and coffee while you're there, and then it's just they don't care about your, like, places like that don't care about your mental health. And I think that mental health in jobs and employment is like really, really important, because for that very same reason, that mundane, that routine shit, like, people, they crack. It's like almost like you glitch, and then people are really affected from that. And that's one reason why I hate corporate, because it's like they try to turn you into robots, and they don't nurture your headspace to be in there. They kind of try to train you to be a robot, and that sucks. Like, to be in that environment. Yeah.
I feel that, because I'm like I always think about what was it? Like, I always think about when I like do these 9 to 5s. I lost my train of thought. My computer, somebody texted me. I just lost my train of thought. No, I was with the 9 to 5s. Yeah, like, I always was afraid of like being there too long, because I'm like, okay, if I get there, what if I meet a girl get pregnant, and then like I'm stuck. And I always think about like not like doing my dream. So I'm like, whenever I see like somebody in the corporate world, I'm like, okay, please don't get stuck, because usually they graduate college, they go into the corporate world, they meet a girl, and then the
That's
girl,
it.
they get engaged, and then like you get her pregnant, and then you're stuck. You know what I'm saying? You're stuck there. I'm not saying you're stuck there forever, but like I always thought about that. I'm like, okay, like what if I do that, and then you meet somebody, and then you're there 5 years, and then you only wanted to be there for 3, but then now you're there for 5, and then now it's stability. You got 2 kids now, and you just stay in there, and then you never accomplish your dreams. So I'm like, I told myself, I'm 26 right now. I'm like, I told myself by the time I'm 30, I'm like, I'm out. I've told myself like I'm out. I'm trying to be out of corporate by the time I'm 30, because I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and just do it. Like, I'm gonna try. If I try and I go out here and do this content stuff by myself, and I fail, cool, I can sleep at night. But I just I can't stay. I cannot stay in the corporate world for like 25 years. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, I was working in retail. I had been there for 4 years before I got fired, which is a whole other thing. But even prior to, it's funny, and I feel like I manifested this pandemic low key, because I was at work. I was at work one day. This was like, it had to be the wee beginning of March. And I'm at work, I'm frustrated, I'm like crying to the other assistant manager, like, I hate it, I need a vacation, I want to leave, I don't ever want to come back.
I said
and
the
it's
same
just
thing.
Like,
yeah, I needed a vacation, and then I got a summer vacation. Yeah. Right.
Like months early, and to have spoken that, and to now not be there, and obviously there's been a lot of things that have taken place since then, for the reason that's not there, which will be another story at another time. But I just was like, fuck, did I just manifest my future, like, without me even knowing that I did that? So I've been trying to be also conscious of the things that I say. And I feel like manifestation by words is really, really like a real thing. So I try not to say things like, I'm weak, I'm dead. I don't try to do that.
I grew up the same way. Like, I never wanted to say I'm dead, because I'm like, I don't want to be dead. And like it's funny you said it, because I was talking to a girl, and I was like, I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to get shot or whatever like that. And I've been saying it like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, damn, I need to stop saying that.
Yeah. Word. Because there's power in the tongue. There's power in manifestation. Just the way that you can manifest things that you want, you can manifest things that you don't want either. It's all in how you speak. But anyway. Corporate world, that's a no. From here on out, I'm gonna try to do what I can so I can work for myself, and it's also allowing me time and space to do everything creative. Like, the week that I got fired, we shot Get Paid, and we shot a Blue Light. So so I'm doing a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a lot, utilize this space, and I'm like, I feel very liberated in my creativity these days too. So I've just been doing everything I can think of, picking up guitar again, and just trying to do all of the things.
Let me find out.
Something like I'm more versed on like piano and keyboard than I am guitar, but I definitely want to pick everything back up. I haven't had nails in forever because that's my whole thing. I haven't had nails, so I can really get in on these things. So yeah, just trying to find it again. Whatever I feel like I lost or kind of put to the side, I'm trying to pick it back up. I think that renewal and resetting and all of that is you know uh prominent in this year along with surrendering for me. So
most definitely. Last
yeah.
question before I let you go. If there was
Okay.
one thing that you could change about the music industry, what would it be?
For how can I word this? For the industry to embrace Black creatives and stop stealing from them.
Mm.
And for because this all ties into my one wish. For
Go
um
ahead, as many as many as possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want the industry to stop stealing from Black creatives, and I do want Black creatives to be highlighted more. I do feel like independent Black creatives bring a lot to what is considerably mainstream. Like social media alone, from Black creatives, Black comedians have cultivated the culture, and
Right.
it has been this way for forever. Now social media is allowing you to see it like firsthand. Like it's so crazy what technology can let you do like these days. But I feel like I've seen more highlights about Black creatives doing something, designing something, writing something, shooting something, and like a big bold somebody big will take
Right.
it and call it theirs, even with the receipts. And it's all right.
What was that?
Yo,
Was
the
that a
hood
bike?
buzzing right now. Yeah, it's a bike. I wish I could have showed you what that was, but anyway. But yeah, I want there to be a space for Black creatives to just flourish without people trying to look for the quickest thing to make some money. And then, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because I see a lot of Black creatives doing a lot of really, really good things and having a lot of really good ideas. And instead of hiring those people in your businesses and giving them the platform to carry your business with their ideas, you're stealing them. I think that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just wish that the industry would embrace that more and sign people who actually want to do music
Yeah.
and
I
love
think
music.
I think that's a big one. That's a dope one. That's the most creative one I've heard this far when I've asked that question. Man,
Right.
I think about like the music videos that we see now, and I'm like thinking about corporately, maybe they have people just with their ears to the streets, and they're just stealing the ideas or stealing the aesthetic or
Absolutely.
whatever,
Mhm.
and because they
Mhm.
have the budget to, and they can put it on a higher scale. Because
Right.
even when you think about like the music videos nowadays, like the budgets be crazy, but you could do the same thing. Like I've seen that the hanging flower thing. I'm like, they be doing it on a larger scale, but I'm like, independent artists could do the
Mhm.
same thing. So like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I just feel like, I mean, I used to think it was a personal bias, but I mean, I'm starting to see it as fact now that Black people have just cultivated everything that's hot, that's popular, from
Mm-hmm.
streetwear to music. Even like I'm learning so much these days, more than I thought I knew, about just how creative Black people have been and how far they've brought like culture in period. And
Right.
it's just I just I mean, I don't know why like they love our culture, but they don't love us. And
Mm.
it's just something that I would want. Yeah, I just would want that to be embraced. I feel like as long as I'm on this earth, in the little part that I play in that, I just want to do whatever I can to just show my Blackness and my creativity, and in hopes that everybody else can do the same freely and without white people trying to monetize.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So end all be all. Next, you said you
Hmm.
have a project, a house project on the way. That was an exclusive, I hope, for Tapped In. What else is next for Autumn besides the house project?
I'm definitely I'm I'm working on a few things that I can't talk about, but they're
Okay.
big. But
Okay.
I am gonna. I'm working on. My focus is visuals.
Yeah, I want to
So
see
we
you be creative director over somebody because I'm like I'm gonna pull you aside for something. Whenever I have a budget for something, I'm gonna pull you aside and I'm gonna need some.
Please do. I would love to. I've definitely curated the last couple things that I've done, and I also want to shout out Dark Master Darian. He shot Cause You Know, and he shot Get Paid,
Hmm.
and Cause You Know was done in my room. Get Paid was done at Levante's house. And he just listened to me, and
Yeah,
I was like, no, let's do this, no, let's do this, and he was just really patient with me. And but I'm feeling like I got a knack for these things, so I do want to
Mhm.
start doing more creative direction. So if you're serious about that, I'm serious about
Hey,
that.
I'm serious about that too because that's the one
That
thing
would
I
be
was gonna
tight.
tell you. Like, I want you to boss up more in that area because you killing it with the songwriting game. I'm like, I want to see you do more creative direction because the visuals be crazy, and I'm like, I know your creative mind is probably even crazier. So, like, I definitely
Hmm.
want more from you in 2020,
Yeah.
21, all that good stuff.
Yes. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's coming.
Most definitely. Well, I appreciate you for joining me. If you would shout out your social media for me and where we could go stream what projects you have out and your social media for me and all that good stuff.
Okay. I'm Autumn Rainwater on Instagram. I think I'm Miss Rainwater on Twitter. My YouTube, Autumn Rainwater. You can find me on Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music. Autumn Rainwater. I got everything. Leaf, Raincheck, and Cloudy on all of those places. And
Word.
Bandcamp if you're feeling generous.
Bandcamp, yes. Man, Bandcamp that's an old school thing, man. A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
about Bandcamp. Thank you guys for joining me. It's another episode of Tapped In at Home Edition. My name is Drew Muzan. This is Autumn Rainwater. Peace out until next time.